you ever needed to extend your TV signal to another room? Perhaps you'd like to watch pay TV or a Blu-ray movie, but the kids have monopolised the TV. Maybe you'd like to move your TV outside, have a barbecue, mates around, watch the big game. Trouble is, HDMI cables are expensive, and no one really wants to run cables all over their house anyway. With the new Wireless HDMI kit from Anyware, you can forget all about cables. They have the perfect solution with their Wireless HDMI transmitter. Simple to set up and easy to use, the Anyware kit will send full, uncompressed 1080p video and audio signals up to 20 metres. As we take a look inside the box, we see the transmitter and receiver units, each with its own power supply, and also a remote control. Also included are a HDMI cable, cables for infrared transmission for the remote signal, the user's manual and quick start guide, as well as batteries for the remote. Taking a closer look at the transmitter unit, you'll find two HDMI inputs. These allow for a combination of devices to be connected, such as pay TV, Blu-ray players or gaming consoles. The transmitter also has a plug for connecting an infrared sensor, which means that you can also control, for example, your Blu-ray player from the other room. You're not limited to just watching. Now let's take a look at the Anyware wireless transmitter in action. Just running through a quick setup of what we are using for the demonstration. The TV screen on your left, the larger of the two units, is simulating what we might have, say, in the lounge room, for example. Connected to that, I have the local Anyware transmitter. It's directly into the TV via the HDMI output on the unit and the HDMI in on the TV. There's also two HDMI inputs on that Anyware transmitter. In this case, we'll be just using one. We've got a PlayStation 3 plugged in, but you could well have a PVR or a Foxtel box or a Blu-ray player plugged into the second one. The TV on your right, the smaller monitor, is connected to the remote or the receiver unit, and it will be simulating basically what you might have in a second room or a den or another bedroom or something. Okay, so now just powering up the television. I'd like to give you an example of how the unit might practically be used around the house. I think we've got some kite surfing or something here on 1HD, just to give an example of, well, something that you might be watching around the house. Mum and Dad might be watching the TV and the kids decide that they'd like to have a go at the PlayStation, but of course they're all connected to the same home theatre setup. Rather than having to decide, if you have a secondary TV in another room, you can quite simply power on the transmitter unit and send that PlayStation signal off to the other room. I'll just power up the unit here. You'll see the on-screen display appear on the right-hand screen. The units can take a few seconds to power up and to locate each other. It's a short pause whilst they initialise and sync the wireless transmission, but after a brief wait, you should see the PlayStation, here we go, screen come up on the right hand side. So we just have a demonstration running on Gran Turismo here at the moment, just to demonstrate how all through the one unit the TV can be quite happily watched in one room whilst having the PlayStation played in another. Of course, Mum and Dad can also use it to keep tabs on what the kids are up to. Simply changing the inputs on the television from standard TV transmission to HDMI, as I'll switch them over now, will reveal what's on the HDMI input. Of course, the same signal is being sent locally as what is being sent to the other room. So after a brief changeover, Mum and Dad can see what the kids are up to on the other TV. Of course, in this type of instance, you may well use the transmitter to send another signal outside to another room. You could have Foxtel showing grand final or something or other in two places at once, rather than having to have another Foxtel box or another Blu-ray player or another PlayStation. By now you might have seen enough of what the kids are up to, so to change back to your standard TV transmission, it's simply a matter of the TV settings actually to switch back your current input. If we had a second device plugged into the transmitter, I could quite easily switch across to watching Foxtel or a PVR player or something of the sort that you could quite easily either watch locally or remotely or both, which is the beauty of this unit. It's quite versatile, it's very, very easy to set up. Took less than 5 minutes, and I've literally shown you exactly how it works, just a press of a button. So there you have it, the Anyware HDMI wireless transmitter. Setup couldn't be simpler. Plug your HDMI devices into these two units, power them up, let them locate each other remotely, and away you go. The included remote lets you switch between devices on the fly, making this the perfect tool for around the home, office, digital signage, or anywhere that you use HDMI screens.